Everybody. I upgraded like everything, so if something's not looking right, going right, doing right, please bear with me. I'll try to fix it here. Um, Upgraded all the broadcast software, the camera software, the mic software, the Stream Deck software, everything. um, Trying to enable some new features potentially coming in the coming days or weeks ahead. Might try out some new live streams, so stay tuned. I'm going to always trying to improve the content, do more for you. Hey, Valerie, Hugh, Ivan, Ringo, Donald, Don, Craig, Arturo, Diane, Mark, Will, Frank, Francois, Matt, Jason, Cliff, Terry, Kevin, Ned, Ted, Darren, Larry, and Ted, Pat. I don't even know how to say Pete, Pete, Gary, B, Ed, Robert, Pauline. Welcome everybody. So choppiness, right? We look at this beautiful move. Look at that extension right there. Pull back, extend up. Can't make this stuff up. Deep retrace all the way back down, as briefed. Golly, sometimes I get this. Like sometimes I have clarity. This pattern, this corrective pattern has been clear, crystal clear. As we came down, first move, absolutely beautiful correction. Overlapping diagonal, deep retrace, right back down. Move higher. I said that, we could possibly make it up to that 63.48. We did not. We stopped at 63.41 and deep retrace. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This next move likely to get us just a nominal higher high. Maybe able to extend a little higher. Maybe. We'll see. Anything higher than 3 completes the pattern. The way this pattern right here, danger. All right, danger, 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 danger. This pattern right here, when it ends, it is likely to have a severe drop. This is a danger pattern. And when I say severe drop, probably going to go lower than this at the minimum. This is probably some sort of ending diagonal. And they usually end somewhat violently, historically. So we could be looking at drop from right up in here, back down like that. Pretty severe. Yeah, right in there. Somewhere right in there. Be what I expect. And it'd probably go fast. All right, any questions on that? Any questions? No, it's necessary to do more. You say that, Jason, but it's not. Like, I'm getting less and less views, believe it or not. Less and less people are spending less and less time watching this right here. So the content's stale is what the numbers show. And it's not just a little bit. Like, I was getting almost 16,000 views a month. Now I'm down to 8. So viewership is cut in half in the last, let's say, 8 months. So got to make a change, got to do something different, got to keep it fun and exciting. You may be loyal, but I'm losing viewership. So do you play the shorts? Not usually. I mean, So got to be careful there. I might play this. I mean, it's a heck of a setup. This would be the target zone. Doesn't have to go like the only thing it doesn't have to do anything. First off, like this pattern does not have to play out. It's been pretty crystal clear. Anything higher than that high right there can complete the pattern. Could it blow off even higher? Absolutely. Typically, the typical result is a big correction. This has been fairly crystal clear the way this is going. And if we do that and we do this, then we'll have to see where we are. So there we go. Hey, tell other people. I'm just, I'm trying to keep it fresh, trying to keep it interesting, trying to, the monologues and stuff I've been working on. I'm working on converting a few new ideas into actual videos, try to get some new eyeballs on the channel. Unfortunately, I talk about this, the difficulties of being a guru. My sales this year are lackluster. New people just not coming in. New people not existing members not buying anything. Now, I have a large following of VIP followers that have everything, so they're not going to buy much, and it's tough. So, it's been a tough year so far. Last year, best year that I've had doing this. This year, back to kind of the second worst year I've had doing this. Like, and the swings in my finances are killing me. It's difficult to go from making a lot of money to making no money and having to pay taxes on a lot of money you made. And that's why I started this right here. That's the whole reason for this 50K challenge right here. The whole reason I started this. Try to balance out and get some reliable income I can count on. And I mean, that's pretty reliable, right? Pretty reliable. Now, I caught a lucky break on tax week right there. They declared all of the state of Tennessee a disaster area due to the hurricanes and the tornadoes and all the stuff that was happening early this year. And they gave me till November to have to pay my taxes. Everybody in the state of Tennessee got that. And so I took that tax bill that was bigger than it was. So my tax bill, because last year was good, Apollo was really nice, really good to me. Everybody loved Apollo. That algorithm, it just works. It runs triple threat. I deployed it to Echo Trades. Like, that algorithm was very kind to me. I made a good chunk of money off of it. Not just trading, just people getting access to it. And then the tax bill on that, though, is like over 2 times the income I've ever had before I became a guru. My whole yearly income, with trading and everything, my working for my engineering company, over 2 times, 2 years worth of income, full income, just gross income, not discounting taxes or anything. 2 years of my gross income is what I owe in taxes this year. So I took that money and rolled some of it into this 50K challenge. Trying to offset that tax money there by November. So I need to perform, and that's what I'm doing right here. That's the whole, and I'm trying to make consistent income. So there you go. That's, it's screaming. And current, see, we're not quite open yet, but the total balance of the account up $700 today. We're pushing 21% gain since I started this right here, tax day, April 15th. That was the plan right there. So yeah. The problem is this year I have to pay for refunds, and there's been a lot of refunds, and I'm not supposed to talk about all that, but it puts me basically at not making anything for several months, pretty much. So, yeah, I need the Monster sponsorship. Hey, I just need more people watching the channel, more channel members, more, more everything happening. Just keeps it going. So, the viewership dropping, combined with less sales, combined with some refunds, it's just been a little tough. And I'm not complaining. I love what I do. I'm good at it. I just got to get through the tough. So, you wonder why I'm coming up with different content, why I'm working hard. That's the bottom line. It's just I'm just having a conversation with y'all. And that's the ups and downs of being a guru. Nobody told me, nobody warned me about the ups and downs. Everybody's like, I've been friends with gurus since I started trading. Like, I have this knack at becoming friends with gurus and making myself useful. And I mean, like, I've done that, like, I probably did that like 12 times, like 12 different gurus along the way. And then they take me under their wing. They teach me extra stuff and try to help me out. Rob Booker was the first one that gave me the opportunity to actually be a guru myself. My good friend before him wanted to, but through some unfortunate circumstances, he just couldn't. Well, one, he didn't have a huge following. Two, he, got caught in, I guess, a bad disclaimer. He made an error in his disclaimers. That's why I'm pretty adamant about saying, reading this, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss, past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation here intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos. Don't trade them. You might lose money, all right? And if you desire personal financial advice, I'm not giving you personal financial advice. Hire a consultant financial advisor. One of my good friends lost his ability to trade because he forgot one sentence out of his disclaimer. And the CFTC, he was trading futures. This is one reason why I don't put out futures trades. He was trading futures. The CFTC had copies of his website and used that against him and got him a lifetime ban on trading. So that sucks. That scares me to death. I could not do this with a lifetime ban on trading. So that's why I'm very careful. I try to be very careful. So anyway, hey, post the same link I post in YouTube. You can copy that link. Post the link to my channel, jeffreytrader.com/YouTube. That works. Or you can post the link for the stream that I post in Discord. Any of them, you can click the link under the video right here that says share. You could click that and share it. If you want people to come every day, I don't care if you all share the links. I can't email out the links directly to the video because it messes up YouTube somehow, some way. At least that's what my mentor says. I work with the same people that help, like Mr. Beast and Mark Rober and all these other top YouTubers. I work with them to learn how to be better at this. And recently, I caught the attention of YouTube with my streams, and they invited me to a 10-week coaching for streamers. It was a personal invite, like from somebody at google.com. I have a channel partner manager. I think that's what they call him. And I have a meeting with him tonight. Well, meeting with all the group coaching, the group of live streamers this evening. I have that 9 more weeks. And they're going to teach me how to do stuff like vertical live streaming. So that's one of the things I'll probably have coming up is a vertical live stream. That's one reason I was upgrading my software so I could be able to vertical live stream. So you can watch me on a cell phone, basically. And I'll probably do different content for that. Be a little different, but should be interesting. So how do we trade the market today? Well, we had the PPI out. That's Producer Price Index. The market, what the heck? How am I in March? That was weird. Must have picked up an old Must have loaded an old version of the website here. 0 flat. That's good for for stability. No rising prices. That's, they were estimating 0.2. That speaks to here in the future, we may not, we may just hold CPI flat because PPI coming in flat. We'll have to jump over to here to find the year over year. Economic. Roll back up to 830. PPI year over year. Came in low. Forecasting 2.5, got 2.3. Nice. I like the trend. Has nothing to do with the market. That's the economy. I found a quote this morning. So let me pull this up and read it to you. Let's see. Nope, that's not the. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, cool. Got to install a Discord update. And there we go. So from an empirical standpoint, this is the quote. From an empirical standpoint, consider that within economic theory, rising prices, this is economics 101. Rising prices result in dropping demand. Right? But in financial markets, rising prices lead to rising demand when stuff is, think about it. NVIDIA, classic case here. Rising prices in NVIDIA result in more demand for NVIDIA. Rising prices in Rocket Lab, breaking out to new highs today. Maybe I shouldn't have sold the 41. I don't know. Rising prices in Rocket Lab create more demand up to a point for that stock. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But that's not economics. Economics, that works backwards. Rising prices create less demand. So applying economic indicators and theories to the stock market is flawed because the underlying economics 101 mechanism doesn't apply to the stock market. Think about that. Like that's a fundamental difference. Everybody, mainstream media, financial people love to equate the economy to the stock market and tell you stories about why things are moving. But the fundamental mechanism that moves price in the economy versus the stock market are completely different. That's crazy, right? Work completely opposite. So using that, that's makes flawed assumptions when you use economic indicators to explain moves in the stock market because the basis of how price moves is fundamentally different between the economy and the stock market. Once you can decouple that, it kind of unlocks the power of the market for you. It took me a long time to learn to decouple any kind of noise story. I call it noise. Any kind of mainstream media narrative, any kind of news. Sure, there's a few type of news events that matter. Going bankrupt, that matters. CEO getting caught with a trunk full of dead ladies, whether it's a male or female CEO, that's pretty bad, right? CEO getting caught with all the company's money in the car, it's pretty bad. Some things can be bad. If you have a visionary leader and they leave the company or die. Apple, has kind of struggled to have visionary products since Steve Jobs left. So there's a few fundamental big changes that can cause reactions in the market, but otherwise, most news doesn't really matter. In fact, my uncle that worked for, or I don't know if he still works or did work for one of the auditors that audits public companies. He was like, yeah, I see all the numbers and I know what they're going to do for the next 5 years. So I make my investment when we're auditing them. I make my investment and look at it like 3 and 5 years down the road, where they're going to be. So before earnings ever come out, and to us, that play's already been made. He's already done that. So the insiders, and he's just in the auditor, like the people that are actually in the company already know way before it gets to the auditor. It's kind of wild when you think of it. So that's how do you those moves have already been made. Those plays have already been done probably a while before we ever even see the numbers, even though it seems like a shock to the. So most news doesn't matter. Earnings doesn't really matter. Speaking of earnings, this one has earnings coming up, and I guess you could say long since I have a short put. Coming up after the close today, I do expect this to either come back and find support here or continue the journey higher. One or the other. Which one it is, I don't really care. If we dip here, I'm probably going to get put the shares, and then I still expect it to journey higher. And this one, been struggling a little bit. Struggling. I got put shares last week. I expect it to break out. That's my primary expectation as long as we hold above this support level. If we start below that support level, probably hang on. We may do a 20-30% correction here. Could come down into the 50 area. So as I've been talking about, I'm doing this wheel type strategy in this 50K challenge, but I'm applying the big difference between the way I do the wheel and the way most people do the wheel. I call it the turbo wheel strategy, is that I'm applying my technical analysis to the chart and looking for potentially bullish support opportunities with large upside potential. So far, this worked out really well on Rocket Lab. Put the shares down here around 24, and now we're up here at 45. And I've sold a few calls along the way, and right now I'm sold at 41. So, but going from like 24, 25 to 41, that's on 700 shares. That's a big chunk of money. It's going to be a nice boom to the account. So when you look at this right here, I actually have about $11,000 in unbooked profit, mostly in Rocket Lab, sitting there. So these are my bullish potentials for doing this kind of trade. Right now, I'm focusing on about 5 positions a week. I post that stuff, post my open orders for channel members. I can't give you alerts on YouTube. That was part of the deal with the company. And Termite Trading Lab is the only place that I give every twist and turn and every deposit, every chunk of money that hits that account. I post it for my Termite Trading Lab group. If you want access to that, links in the description. Yesterday I had a question like, how do we get access to it without being a Termite Trading Lab member? That's the way you get access to it. That's the only that's the only way. The company doesn't want to sell it at this point as a standalone. Anything due to the high intensity of alerts and updates. It's a lot. And just any of my Termite Trading Lab members who are doing this with me can comment. There are a lot of things. There's a lot of updates every week. So anyway, seems like not a lot, but it gets to be quite a bit because there's up to we're trading 30 contracts at a time, and there can be a lot of actions. The way KInfo does the dates is weird because it dates them when I put. Let me find an example here. I'll find an example. Show me all the trades, please. There we go. like this one right here. It says I was in the 27th and out the 27th. Right? That's because I got in right there. I created the limit order to get out right there for a penny. And it sat until expiration day right there. But they didn't pick up the date. I think I got out the day before that. I think it was the 10th after earnings came out. But they didn't, KInfo didn't pick up that closing date. They picked up the limit order date when they did this. I don't know. I've commented to them on their Discord server about it. They don't seem interested in changing that. So that one actually closed, over here, not down here, but whatever. And I don't know about you, but getting in and getting out at the same price doesn't seem like a loss. But due to the way I did the contracts, I sold the puts, got put the shares at $18.50. I sold a call for $18.50 and sold those shares for $18.50 when I got called away. Yet it resulted in a loss. So I don't know. I don't necessarily agree fully, but this is a way for me to share everything in this account that I'm doing right there. And it is, every trade's verified. Like, these are all verified trades. So 100% verified. Can't make up anything. I can't add anything to this. I can't take anything away from this. Can't hide anything. Well, I mean, it does have some options to hide, but I'm not utilizing those at all. I'm just showing you everything. There's no reason to hide anything. So I do have I got a few trades left to be on the leaderboard. I'm at 89 trades. I need 100 to be on the leaderboard. So another 11 trades will be on the leaderboard. It's kind of crazy. Even with this amount, like, even if I don't book out the 11 grand, I'm still in like the top 300 traders that are on KInfo all time. Top 300 with just 8 grand profit. That speaks to how many people lose money doing this thing. So many people just churn, making no money. Think about that a minute. There are thousands of members at KInfo. Like thousands. Like you can roll through thousands of people. With $8,400, I'm going to be in the top 300 traders all time. Now, to get in the top 100, I'm going to have to do some work. I'm going to have $150,000 profit all time, which the rate we're going, not going to be too long. I'll keep climbing that leaderboard. Most people don't have a P&L curve that looks like this. I've looked at a lot of them. So if you want to come be a part, you want to follow along on KInfo, I'll drop the link. It's in the description down below. I'll throw this in there though for you. Right there. Oh, cool. The update. Let me put, look at that. Now I can use my emojis. The update fixed the chat for me. Cool. All right. Moving on. How do we make money today, right? I've got DJT puts sold, or puts, calls. Hold on. Hold, please. Yeah, I got DJT put sold 1850. So sitting at 1830. If the market closed right now, I'd get put shares. I may roll those out. We'll see what happens. This has been pretty, like, as this thing grinds right here, it's been pretty spicy premium wise. I expect it to pop back up to the roadmap line, potentially break out, potentially go even higher. This has a nested 1, 2, 1, 2. Can be a very powerful setup. I expect it to go back up to the 50s. If I get put shares at 18 and ride it to 50s, That would be pretty spicy right there. I mean, just at 6. I mean, if I got a $40 upside, and I'm riding right now 12 options, so that'd be 1,200 shares. So we're talking about like $48,000 potential on that one. That's a pretty good one. Pretty good one right there. Chewy, been selling this one right at the roadmap line here. Sold one up higher in green light income bonus trade. Sold one right here this week. So far, looking good. That ABC has a little bit of further potential to go right down in here. A little bit further proportion-wise. But holding the roadmap line. Turn it, burn it. 49 upside. If we get put shares in the 30s, ride it up 10 bucks. That could be a pretty good one. Pretty good. CMA I've got on that one. Chewy got 6. So 600 times 10, that's at $6,000. $6,000 potential. Not bad. It's about putting yourself in the right place at the right time. That's the whole thing in the market. Putting yourself at the right place at the right time. So that's the kind of stuff I'm doing right now. Chasing the same pattern that I talk about right here every day. Let's check out ES here. Now the market's open. Let's see what we're doing. Probably retracing a little bit. Yeah. As long as we can hold this area, potential to go higher. Potential to go up. Right there. In Q, getting that deeper retrace there. Likely to be choppy on the way up here. There's the low, here's the high. Retrace back to the 618, maybe as deep as the 786 down here. Find support, turn, go higher, push a little higher, deep retrace, and push higher. Might top out right there. Russell did the exact retrace I talked about yesterday. Look at that, beautiful. ABC. Can't make this stuff up sometimes. That was the A, that was the B, and the C. Had it on there yesterday. You can go see 30 Minutes of Awesome. When I loaded this up, I was like, holy fudge muffins. So the question now, if that was a wave 1, not an A, and this was a wave 3, which it did not hit the correct proportions to be a wave 3, this wave 4 would have overlapped wave 1. So now it's like ambiguity, right? But this can be an A, B, C down, and that can be an A wave, because A waves can be 3 or 5. So that can be an A wave. We can get a B wave retrace back up into this 618 zone, and then we could get a C wave that's much bigger potential right there. So we look at the high, look at the low, and resistance going higher, currently hanging out right in here, all the way up to the high right there in this zone. So when we retrace on Russell, watch out for this area. Can turn down violently. If you didn't sell your 150 short put, this would be an area to look at booking that off and only holding the 180 for what comes next. I have the 180 long put. I sold off the 150s. Sit on the 180s. Oil. Grinding. As I said, this can continue sideways. We've got resistance at that downtrend. We've got resistance at the 618. And we got resistance at the where we double topped. So resistance, 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 right there. Hanging in here. Support right here. Support. Prior low down here. And if we start down below, and we get continuation, we're probably going on down to 50 at least. Possibly down to 40, but 50 at least. So support here, support here, support here. So as long as we're in between, sideways is the name of the game until something upsets the cart. Either we break out or break down. Otherwise, a stock at rest, commodity at rest, tends to stay at rest until something upsets the cart. Now, a breakout higher could be from any kind of Middle East anything. Oil traders very emotional. You may see an emotional reaction if any kind of Middle East disturbance kicks back up. Break at the ceasefire deal, whatever. There's some kind of big bombing in Iraq today or yesterday, or I don't know. It's hard for me to tell when it happened versus when I read it. Northern Iraq, some kind of dust up happened between like Iran and Israel. It's supposed to be a ceasefire, but some sort of collateral damage. So we'll see what happens here. I don't think it's done. So watch out for the next break higher. Something disrupts the oil supply flow. Gold, hovering. I'm not sure I want to take a gold rush trade even if it kicks off today. Probably go light if we get the entry. We'll see you later this afternoon, but that looks like where we're heading. Absolutely beautiful correction, but we haven't done the rest of the C yet, which looks like what we need to have happen. Now, doesn't have to. Doesn't have to at all. We held the 618 right here. It's right here. That right there. That was a move up. That was a 618 retrace. We're hovering right below a 618 retrace. If this starts breaking up, we could just avoid the pattern and go higher. This is the one that looks best to me and supports much higher prices. But we could just break out now and go higher. That's why I will still take the gold rush trade, but probably not big. The risk, big risk downside, but there's still potential to go up. This potential right now, if we're going to break out, supports a potential right up there, 38.79. So it's not, I mean, not the end of the world. It's not up to the targets I was looking at, but you know, that's the potential. Then we get a potential pullback and a final move. There's almost always a bullish and bearish case for almost everything that you ever look at. But you got to go with which one you feel more convicted to right now based on that correction, that price action, this price action, this price action. Down is my higher conviction, but that doesn't mean we won't break out and cruise higher. Bitcoin recovering nicely. Come on, index. Bitcoin. There we go. Jump down in the small time frames. As I kind of speculated yesterday, looked like we actually pulled this on over. Yeah. A absolutely beautiful correction ended right in the perfect place. Now the thing to watch, as we're retracing off of the bottom here, as we're coming up off the lows, this is the low. We've got higher lows, higher lows, higher lows so far. Resistance right there. Gonna have to clear that resistance to get continuation higher. So as this grinds higher, we may do a pullback. If we can hold, break through, that would be beautiful for our next upside move. If now the other potential is this is an A, just like we were talking about a minute ago on Russell. This could be an A, this could be a B, and we could see a C, bigger downside into those proportions, 1 to 1.272 of the A. So that's the downside potential on Bitcoin. I'm biased higher because we didn't hit the upside targets yet, but that doesn't mean that this correction is done. That could put this back, that means we have resistance at 120, and then we have support down here at 112. Right there. If this develops into a bigger correction. All right. Upside bias, but downside caution. Ethereum keeps blasting, baby. I'd love to see this back to the highs. Let's get back up here, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. I'd love to make it to the target up here. You don't have a piece of this. Some ways to play ETHU, ETHT, what was it? ETHT, ETHU, ETHT. Buy a few shares without having to go buy any. And that's a way to get 2x leverage without having to go buy anything in the crypto market. NKD, still grinding in here, still hanging in the top. I like that. If we can break out with global liquidity, probably going to take everything higher. US market, crypto, everything profits off of higher global liquidity. Dollar, as briefed, we're still climbing. 101 resistance, we get through that, we can go on the path higher. If we bounce down, look for support. If we break through that, we might make a lower low. It's kind of the roadmap here. Bullish and bearish case. Apple, still grinding the roadmap line. That's still a negative bias. Still first move down. A, B, absolutely beautiful correction puts us at lower prices. Pretty substantially lower. Amazon, absolutely beautiful correction potential. Google, absolutely beautiful correction potential. Meta, absolutely beautiful correction potential. Microsoft, already did that. Absolutely beautiful correction. Upside target, 508, maybe 565. NVIDIA, difficult. I keep deleting this too. And it keeps putting it back on the chart. Love that. Love that. So we have the upside resistance 176, 177, 200. One of these is going to be the final little pop, and then we're going to get a deeper correction. NVIDIA, many times, like I had this conversation on Profit Panel yesterday with Jack. He was like, why would you think that NVIDIA is going to get this giant correction? I was like, because all you have to do is roll back in NVIDIA's history. You get these large corrections, not just once, not just twice, but repeatedly throughout its history, where it does these large percentage corrections after being really bullish and hyped up. 84%, 89%. That one's a 70%. That one's a 60%. We could get a very large correction, and it won't even mean anything in the big picture. We could come back into this zone right here, 30s to 40s, and then go blasting off again. Done that over and over and over in NVIDIA's history. That's how NVIDIA moves. Be careful chasing it higher right here. The hype is real when prices are high, just like I talked about a minute ago. Counter to economics, higher the prices, the more excitement there is here. Tesla has multiple layers of absolutely beautiful correction potential. If we can break above This current 618 resistance tips the odds we're going on higher now instead of later. But right now, 270 support. And if we break through that, could be down here, something more sinister on the downside. Right now, that more sinister on the downside could be somewhere down around 150, 160. I am long Tesla. I think we're going up. Supports at 270. Now, this climb into earnings this is my caution here. If we climb into earnings, we may get a negative reaction because like higher than 70% of the time, we get a negative reaction on earnings for Tesla. It's just a pattern that holds true. So looking at potential opportunities today, I go pull gainers, pre-market gainers, things moving $2 or more up in the pre-market. Hunt for us some opportunities here. This one, if we close right here, despite being biotech pharma, which I don't like to trade myself, has potential to get further upside to 400 area. 400. PGR, man, that has been beat down. Beat down right into earnings today. Beat on top, missed on the bottom. No real reaction. Had a little bit of a spike coming into the market open, but I'm holding a couple shares of this. Looking for upside target. I am longer term bullish despite this pullback that goes below the roadmap stop. I'm choosing to hold it because I still believe in this upside pattern and potential. When I look at the bigger picture here, I still think this has higher to go. Same with McDonald's. The McDonald's. That, absolutely horrible. Reverse split. Don't touch that. You're going to lose money. MSTR. If Bitcoin can continue the grind higher, probably take MSTR out to targets. Right up here, around 600. Maybe lofty goal up around 1,000. If we stall out, run out of juice, downside support right here for now. Right down around 345 at this point. 330, 345. So that's your risk. $100 down, $200 up. That's still a reasonable risk to, still a reasonable risk to reward at this point. $100 down versus 200 up. Not bad. Circle, choppy. Looks a lot like this. Be careful. You may see this drop off. I call it the bubble pattern. Euphoria. People thinking we just need to cool off. We grind in this kind of diagonal thing. And it breaks down. Sometimes comes all the way down. Sometimes makes a lower low. Lower low. ETHU, trying to break out. Upside potential, 150, 200. BMNR, watch for that to come back to the roadmap line. Now this potentially could set up the roadmap line is the 618, so at this point, if we did that hold, we could set up a bigger move, kind of like SBET. I may buy a share of this just to see. Look at this crazy potential right here. If this does, and this would just be an ABC. Like, that's the crazy thing here. This could be an ABC and hit 460. It's the craziest freaking pattern. Crazy numbers. Does this have to happen? Absolutely not. Absolutely beautiful correction. Look at the trend on this thing. It is down. Hard to argue that's not a downtrend. ABC correction could put it back to the roadmap line on the monthly and still end up going back to zero. Isn't that crazy? I think it's crazy. This is almost never traded above the monthly roadmap line. That is a downtrend. Be careful. That doesn't mean it can't make a 10x upside Like I said, I may buy a share of that just to see, because that would be a crazy story to talk about on here. MP Materials keeps being hyped up. Seeing Apple and the U.S. government jump in with pieces. We're hitting that 2618 fib line. We can go higher, but we can also deeply retrace back to the roadmap line, which is down around the 20s at this point, 20s and 30s. Restoration Hardware, chopping again. That's the third lower high. Lower high, lower high, lower high. Be careful here. Has higher lows. We're in this watermelon seed squeeze thing. A, B, C, and then continuation lower, or can we hold a higher low and go higher from there? This kind of watermelon seed squeeze thing, usually not. I mean, this could be nested bullish pattern, but when it looks something like this, be careful. This is usually the A wave. These triangle thingies are usually some sort of B wave. At this point, we've got like an A, B, C, D, E potential. I could leave the C open. So if you're big into this one, because I've talked about it for a few months now, be careful. This next move could top out somewhere around 350. And then we actually come down and make a lower low again. ARM, the lower high, held above the roadmap line so far. Ambiguous price action here. A, B, C potential. This not exactly the most bullish thing until we get like a 618 retrace and then break back higher. Then I could look up, but if we come down and break down, we could go lower low. APO. Links in the description for that. It's the join link, or I think there's a button right underneath me here somewhere, somewhere along here that says join. That becomes a YouTube member right there. APO. Potential to break higher. J&J has been in a long-term downtrend. Be careful here. This might need to come down to this monthly roadmap line. Find support around 134 before we can embark on the next journey higher. Haven't quite hit it yet. BX. Blackstone. This is an advancement. This is the investment managers, not the grills. So far, holding an A, B, absolutely beautiful correction. Move up. If that is the first move down, the A, B, C up. We can take this down in an A, B, C move right there. All right, so be careful. Nested three-wave moves. Be careful. And this is starting to look like three-wave, fast correction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we top out right in there, watch for the move down, back to a lower low. QLGN, garbage. DPST, hold the roadmap line, bounce up here to the target, 140. XXRP, pushing on out, 4880 target. Rocket Lab 2x leverage is just rocking higher. More expensive than Rocket Lab, so be careful there. BTCL, can we push this out to the targets? Or are we going to come back down to the roadmap line? It's 2x leverage on Bitcoin. If you don't have exposure to Bitcoin, BTCL, BITX, BITU, those are ways that you can get 2x leverage without buying any kind of options. Unity, man, finally. So watch for resistance at 34, 43, 57. If we get to 57, that's probably setting us up for a bullish continuation higher. As I already talked about BitX, CoreWeave, be careful. That might be played out. We might come all the way back down and retest the breakout down around 64. BitX already talked about. PNC. I caution here. This could be, see, lower highs. Could be an absolutely beautiful correction continuation down in the low 100s. EETH. There's another Ethereum ETH, Ethereum ETF. Did a ABC. Absolutely beautiful correction down to the bottom. Can we get this movement higher? Pushing higher. We have resistance right up here. If we can get through it, we can go higher. BitU, that's another leverage Bitcoin. FAS, leverage financials. This looks like it wants to come back and visit the roadmap line before we go higher. Big picture. This thing has a whoa buddy kind of pattern here. Look at this. Big picture. Financials are where it's at. Large potential upside here. Crazy numbers. But that doesn't negate getting a nice big fat retrace back down to 50% retrace. METC. Wow. Repeatable. Here's the high, here's the low. 27 to 32 upside resistance, PLD. Watch out for some downside action. It's grinding lower, very choppy fashion. TEM. Sideways, be careful. We have that A, B, C, absolutely beautiful correction potential to the downside. ONCO, grinding the lows, nasty reverse splits, DFDV. Be careful. This can come back to the roadmap line. Lower high, lower high. Watch for that. If we break out, though, above 35, we can go make a higher high. So the upside potential, we've got that 31 area we got to get through. 61 on the upside. But roadmap line, what is that, 13 on the downside, 12, 10. That's a kind of a crooked skew right there. UNFI, watch for that to bounce off the roadmap line and get continuation. Maybe ABC complete. We're going to have to break back through that 618 to get upside there. ALC, downtrend. Alcon. I think that's, medical supplies. Oh, ASML right back down as predicted. Watch for that to hold support down here around 697, 700. And if we do that, we could get the bigger bounce higher. KLAC, watch for the retrace. Target is up at 963. AMET, watch for ABC correction potential. If we can break back above the 218 area, we can go on out to potentially 283. DXYZ, potential breakdown further. CYCC, garbage. LRCX, potential to push on up to 124. Baidu, grinding the roadmap line. That's a downtrend. Watch out for continuation lower. MKSI, downtrend, potential continuation lower. Lower highs. We need to break through that trend to indicate we're going higher. ASMG, ouch. Watch this one. You could buy this after we bottom out around 700 on ASML. LNTH probably going lower. WF, watch for that to come back to the roadmap line. And Marvel chips, not superheroes. Turn down to the resistance. Watch out. We need to hold this support down here at 58 and turn higher. Otherwise, we may go lower low in an A, B, C correction. Setups for today, LI. I wouldn't take that. Sideways, choppy, hot mess, but doesn't negate the upside potential. There's the high. Here's the low. 31 upside. And Trip.com. We have the high here, the low here, and potential to 69 right there. Bias for the day, still looking for the grind higher into that 63, 64 target over the coming days. That doesn't negate getting a pullback back into test the breakouts before we do that right there. But so that's the range I expect us to play in, 6150 up to 63, 65 here for the next few weeks. Have a great day out there. I'll be back again tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Come see me for another morning monster. Thanks, everybody. See you later.